Good afternoon. It's Monday, and today I'm actually not going to be working on the COE build. Not that I don't have plenty of stuff to do. I've kind of hit a roadblock as far as framework goes because of the fact that the 4-link kit hasn't arrived yet. But I could be cutting off the body mounts off of the frame or something, and I need to get started on replacing the cab floor as well. But I got home and I was, looking at Evette here, and I've been slowly collecting parts to build a throttle linkage for it, which is what she needs, along with a few other minor things. But I was just peeking inside, and I noticed that some kind of animal has started to make the old girl her restroom. So just really kind of thrown off by that. So I've decided to jump back on this car for today, at least until maybe I get the 4-link kit, and try and hammer out a couple of the small details to at least get it running and driving, because it already runs. So what that's going to consist of is a gas pedal and throttle linkage, and I've gotten a pretty good idea from one of my friends off of Instagram, Rufino. He showed me how a Toyota gas pedal works, and I realized it was very similar to how the Miata gas pedal works that I have in the Squiata. And it looks like a really solid idea. All I have to do is figure out where I'm going to mount the pivot point, which is gonna take a little thinking. I've kind of got the dash already all jam-packed, so might have to move something around a little bit, but we'll figure it out. I think the hardest part about all of this is going to be having to drag my TIG welder and gas from the shop back over here to the garage. So first we'll figure out what we're going to do, and then we'll start cutting some pieces up, and then we'll worry about dragging the welder over. I have a feeling that's not even going to happen today, so we'll get started mocking up for a gas pedal for this car. So the idea Rufino gave me was basically to grab a door hinge pin from AutoZone and use the little bronze bushings that come with it as the pivot point bearing, essentially. And essentially the way Toyota and Mazda gas pedals work is this rod would be considered the throttle pedal linkage. It would come off of the throttle pedal, run up this way. There'd be a pivot point about midway through, more or less, and then the top half of the rod would pull back when you push the gas pedal down on this side, and this is where you'll attach the throttle cable to. So that's the idea, and I had to go Joe Dirt with it for this car and get a footprint gas pedal, chrome plated of course. And the first thing I'm going to do is get some 1/8 inch plate and mark out these mounting points to it, because I thought that I would be able to weld directly to this, but that's not the case. So we're going to make a plate that screws into this, and then we'll be able to attach our rod and bend it to the shape we need and figure out where our pivot point is going to have to weld in the car. So let's head out to the shop and make a paper template. Okay, basically what I did was set the gas pedal underneath and used my dirty fingers to mark exactly where the embossings are for the screws, and I was able to see a slighter light spot, which was the center. You can kind of tell in that one. So I just marked it with my Sharpie, and now we'll cut this out to the shape we want and get it cut out of the middle. We got our pattern traced out. We used our center punch to mark where we're going to drill our holes, and now all we got to do is cut it out and drill it and get it bolted up. Alright, so we got the plate done, and this foot pedal gas pedal is so cheap that they couldn't even send me the right length screws. But I'll just go to the hardware store. But for now, we're gonna start trying to figure out exactly where the rod needs to go. So the more I look at the space I have to work with and how this mechanism is gonna have to pivot, a simple straight bar is probably not going to work for my application, because I want the throttle cable to actually come out on the passenger side. And in order to do that, I have to create something similar to what BMW used stock in the E30, which is this. And I think what I'm going to do is just cut it up into pieces. I've already taken the brackets off that welded it to the firewall too. And I'm just going to cut out this center section, make this guy on this side with just a straight piece of rod, and lengthen this to get it to where I need it to be. And I think we'll be in pretty good shape. I'll be able to just tack weld these back onto the chassis like they were factory, just in different locations. So that's what we're gonna do. Well, I went back and forth for a little while between the stock throttle linkage assembly, and once I actually cut it apart, I realized that it was entirely made out of aluminum. So the rod that I have that I was going to use to modify it is steel. So I just decided to go ahead and use the footprint gas pedal and do it all from scratch like I was originally planning to. And once I stopped thinking about it and just started working, I actually got something together here that looks like it's gonna do the trick. So this is the gas pedal, and as you can see, the rod goes up that way, makes a 90 and cuts over, makes another 90, and I'll pull it out here, show you. Alright, so this is basically the design that I came up with. The rod comes up 90s, rides along the firewall, and these are actually the OEM throttle linkage brackets for the original throttle linkage. Just so happens that the rod I'm using is the same size as the aluminum rod. And basically it just comes up right here, which lands in a very good position. It's directly behind the throttle body, probably, I don't know, 8 inches. And we'll just modify this to hook on a low car cable. But all we're gonna have to do is tack weld these brackets onto the firewall, and I think the throttle linkage will be done, and we can move on to the next item on the checklist. There is one thing that I'd like to ask my viewers, and that is I'm thinking about making my videos a little shorter in duration. I noticed a lot of them range from like 12 to 20 minutes. And if I broke them up into smaller segments, it would cover less overall per video, but I think they'd be more manageable to watch. And that's what I'm asking your opinion on. Is that something you would like to see? And that's kind of what I did with this video today. It's just like 1 day's worth of work. I might try and integrate 2 to 3 days worth of work into, say, like a 7 to 10 minute video at most. But let me know what you think, what works for you, and any feedback you have, I'd appreciate it. So have a nice night. Oh, one last thing before I sign off. I don't think I did like a proper walk around of the car, and I know a lot of my Instagram followers know of my car, but probably not YouTube. So basically, it's a 1987 325 IS that I've put a twin turbo LS into. It's got the T56 6-speed with a monster stage 3 clutch, and I did all the aluminum, all the stainless. It's gonna have a hood, and it's gonna close just like factory. I completely back half the car and tubbed it out, did a full roll cage 10-point, did the sheet metal work, transmission tunnel, and the back side here is still a little bit of a work in progress as far as the sheet metal goes. And the reason for that is because my suspension here is completely experimental. I have a push rod coming off of the rear spindle, and it comes up and connects to a cantilever, which actually pivots off of the sway bar. So the sway bar is integrated in a funny way, and I'm not sure how that's going to react when driving. So that's why I'm going to test drive it before finalizing any of the sheet metal back here, because I may have to remove the sway bar and just convert these to bearings in order for it to operate properly. I'm concerned that maybe there might be some binding or something like that, but we'll find out when we get there. And yeah, she's running a 315 with room to spare in the back.